In this example, we will create a simple data grid for the purchase request form. You can choose a product name. Manually input the unit price and quantity. The line item will automatically calculate your total amount. When you input more items, the data grid will also sum up the grand total for you. From the previous lesson on data binding, you need to create a document profile for storing the line item data. Although we have created the purchase request profile, it doesn't contain any profile for those line items. So we are going to create a subprofile to host the line item's data. Purchase request line item with the level set to details. Detail profile is specially designed for line items. Remember, the line items contains for different fields. So let us create the 4 index fields to match the line item columns. Let's speed up the process. Now we have to document profiles for purchase request. One is master, another one is details. Let's edit the master profile. Select detail field type. Give a name, for example, line items. Then embed the purchase request line items profile into here. Click Add icon to create the line item field. We add one more numeric field, which hosts the total amount of purchase. Now, the document profile setup is completed. We can go back to eForm Designer. Drag the data grid object onto the eForm. The original object is an empty one without any columns. Adjust the sizing to fit the section. Click the Setup icon to open the Properties window. Give a name for your list, for example, line items. Select the number of rows for your data grid. For example, I start with 5 rows. The number of rows can be dynamic. Just enable the dynamic row option. If you want the data grid to show row number, just enable the row count option. The most important is to bind to your details document profile. Click Update button to save your changes. Now, you can start creating the 4 columns. Click the Create Column icon. Remember that the first column is product name, which is a pull-down list. So, I select Combo. Click OK to confirm. For easy manage, let's give the column an object ID, product_name. Go to Data Bind to bind the column data to index field. The first column is product name. The selection list allows you to create the selection options, such as connect to database or lookup list. We will talk about this in next video. Here, let's start by putting in some options manually. Click Update button to save your changes. You can see the first column is created. Let's continue with the next column, unit price. In this example, we will input unit price in T manually. So, we will choose text boxes option. Similar to product name, we give an object ID. Define the text box type as currency. Set up the data binding to unit price. Click Update to save your changes. The second column is created. The third and fourth columns are with similar setting, so let's skip the setup process. Now, all 4 columns are created, but you find that the column name is quite wide. We are going to configure the grid by clicking the green Advanced icon. In this window, you can change the name, width and different setting of each columns. Let us change the name first. Product name, unit price, quantity, and total amount. Then follow by the column width. Click the Save button to commit all changes. Let's try on the setting in preview mode. Select Product A from the pull-down list, then input unit price and quantity. You may find that the total amount on the fourth column does not able to calculate automatically, and there is no grand total of all line items. So, let us further configure the data grid. Select some total option for total amount, so that when you input multiple line items, it will calculate the total sum. And bind the grand total to index field total purchase amount which you set up before. For each line item, you can set a formula. Total amount equals unit price multiplied by quantity. This is represented by C1 multiply C2. C1 is the second column, while C2 is the third column. Click the Save button to commit changes. Let's try again in preview mode. Select Product A from the pull-down list. Input the unit price and quantity. Now, you can see the total amount is calculated automatically. Continue to add one more line item and see the grand total. The setup is completed. Check in the eForm to save your changes. To final test your result, you can create a new eForm records. But first, since you have added to new index fields, line items and total purchase amount, you are required to add back to column view. Now you can create a new eForm record. Fill in the multiple choice answer and line items. Finally, you can see the result with 2 line items saved in the Details field and also the total purchase amount. That's all for the setup.